Hello, I'm Martine Brisson. Welcome. And today I'll talk about parenting. The reason why is because I was talking to someone who is a young mom and she's so afraid of screwing up. No, she doesn't want to screw up and want or no everything to be perfect. And also nowadays, all we hear if you listen to the news is the kids are nervous, the kids are anxious, and all those kind of things. So that make me think about parenting. The skinny of it is that we are going to screw up. Fine, there's no such thing as perfect parent. No. And even when you do everything perfectly, we have absolutely no control on how the kids are going to perceive whatever we're doing. So we're going to screw up at one point or the other. But the thing is what we do the majority of times that counts. So the couple of times that we blow it out, um, it's what you do the majority of times that counts. And if the kids feel love for who they are, unconditional love, no, things will work out. That's for sure. Because let's face it, now parenting is one of those things in the world that there's lots of shoulds, right? Lots of advice, lots of must, lots of rules, lots of pressure put on parents from society and from the family, the extended family sometimes. And oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this that way, and lots of pressure. And the thing is, people are reading. Well, I'm totally guilty of that. Now reading all the books now to make sure that everything is all right. And like I said, I was totally guilty of that. I grew up kind of in a like lots of people in this functional family. I didn't want to repeat the pattern of how I grew up. So while I was pregnant, I read all the books, right? And I was with like crazier, like one step above, because I read that babies in the womb like Baroque music. Well, guess what? I was listening to Baroque music. Um, that if you read a story every night to the kid, you will have an impact on this verbal skills. Guess what I did? I read the story every night in the womb, but to the kid in the womb. Actually, that one word. My kids talk extremely early. So so this one worked. But no, so when we have put so much pressure on ourselves just to make sure that we do things um, perfectly. But those things now, those rules change over time. Now, I was growing up when I was a baby. Kids apparently ate at 3 weeks old. Nowadays, it's at 6 months old. No, things change. Sleep on their backs, sleep on the tummy, whatever. So those rules changes over time, and then people get so nervous and they look at all those books and all the expert advice instead of relying on their own wisdom. Another little fun fact: those kids haven't read those books, right? And if you have more than one kid, you know that each one of them come with their own little personality, right? So what worked for one doesn't necessarily work for the other. I remember one of my sons, when it was time for a nap, so do you want to go upstairs holding my hand or in my arms? He was 2 years old. And he looked at me and he says, neither, I don't want to go for a nap. So even though the expert book said, no, give them the illusion of choice. Yeah, so he was not duped by that little thing, right? So kids come with their own personality. So what worked for one doesn't work for the other. but just rely on your own wisdom. You know what to do, right? And if the first thing doesn't work, well, no, there's more wisdom, right? Um, and like I said, we're going to screw up sooner. Or I think it's the Dalai Lama who said that kids are a bit like little Zen masters because they just know which button to push. Um, but like I said, this everything is done from love, and they know that they are loved unconditionally. They will turn out fine. Mine are young adults, and they turn out fine. Totally fine, more than fine, actually. So rely on yourself or your own wisdom. And kids also, like we probably heard that kids are little sponge, right? Because up to 5 years old, they in no Goggic state, so that's all they absorb all the information. But also look on the way that you react to stress. And that's what they learn. No, I'm pretty sure that all this anxiety, oh, the kids are anxious, the kids are anxious. I will bet that it's more like the parents that are anxious, and that transmit that to the kids because the kids look at the way you react. And when you know where your experience is coming from, you'll stop overreacting. That doesn't mean you'll never react. No, that's impossible. We're not turning into Mr. Spock. But when you know where your experience is coming from, and it's not from circumstances or events, you're more calm. And that changes everything. The kids observe the way you react. It says, I don't have to overreact. So you don't have to preach. Hey, no, you don't have to preach because they will look at the way you react and they will learn from that, right? And if you screw up, because like I said, it's bound to happen at one point, you can have a conversation with the kid. It says, I blew it at that point. It had nothing to do with you. And that does wonder also for the kid. That you can have a conversation once you're calm with the kid. And the kid learns from that as well, right? So you don't have to worry, will I break my kid? No, you cannot break anybody, right? So, but when we realize as parents that we're coming from our own contaminated thinking, we're going to react. I think it's Jamie Smart that has this little quadrant that if you have contaminated thinking, but the other person you talk to is calm, I will have to find the picture of it. There's that calm, the other person will help you calm down as well. But if both of you are reacting, both of you are in contaminated thinking, there will be no resolution. So if you are up in your head and the kid is up in their head, and then it will be a screaming match. And if you take the time to say, okay, now may be not the best time to resolve that problem. Or you go each to your own corner, so to speak. When you come back, you're both calm. And then you can have a calm discussion about whatever is going on. If you're just reacting from contaminated thinking, there will be no resolution, and it will probably have an impact on your relationship further down the road. But just by the fact that says, okay, now is not the time to talk about whatever. Let me think about it. Let me calm down about it. And the kids learn from that as well. the kids learn from that as well. So that's all I have to tell you today. Like I said, there's no one size fits all with kids. We can always do our best, right? That's all we can do. And things is that Maya Angelou that said that something to the effect that um, I will probably mix up. Maybe it's not her, but you have a level of consciousness and you act from that level of consciousness. I mean, when you do better, when you know better, then you do better. And if you consistently speaking from love, your kids will know that. It would make a big difference. And the first few times that you're going to blow it is not going to have an impact long term because the kids watches you what you do the vast majority of times. So that's all I have to tell you today. And I'll see you next week. Cheers.